My husband left me at the hospital after my miscarriage because his boss needed him. I bled alone, shaking while nurses asked if someone was coming. He showed up 9 hours later, smelling like alcohol and someone else's perfume. I didn't say anything. I just watched. A week later, I logged into our shared iCloud and saw a video of him laughing in a hotel room with a woman dancing in my pajamas. I sent him one message: "Hope you enjoyed her show. Now watch mine, in court." I'm Amanda. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I'm 34. And this story is something I thought I'd take to my grave. But lately, I think maybe someone out there needs to hear it. Maybe someone out there needs to know you aren't crazy for fighting back when someone shatters you. It started with a pregnancy. A surprise one. I wasn't on birth control because Rick and I had talked a lot about starting a family. Maybe not right that second, but someday soon. So when that little plus sign showed up, I was scared. But also a little thrilled. I could already picture it. A nursery, baby clothes, sleepless nights with this man I thought loved me. Rick smiled when I told him, hugged me, kissed me on the forehead. We celebrated with cheap takeout and ice cream that night, and I fell asleep in his arms thinking, this is it. This is what happiness feels like. 3 weeks later, I lost the baby. It happened so fast I didn't have time to process it. One second I was sitting at my desk at the dental office where I worked. The next I was gasping in the staff bathroom, blood soaking my jeans, heart hammering in my chest. My coworker Laura, God bless her, didn't even hesitate. She grabbed her keys, shoved me into her car, and broke about 10 traffic laws getting me to the ER. Rick showed up 20 minutes later. I'll never forget it because the nurse asked me, "Do you have anyone coming to stay with you?" And just as I opened my mouth to say yes, he walked in. He didn't run to me. He didn't cry. He didn't even look panicked. He looked annoyed. I don't know what I expected. Maybe tears. Maybe him grabbing my hand and promising me it would be okay. Instead, he scrolled on his phone while the doctor talked to us. Barely listened when they said they couldn't stop the miscarriage. Then, 20 minutes later, his phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and his whole face changed. "Shit," he said under his breath. Then louder, "I gotta go. My boss needs me. Emergency meeting." I stared at him. I said, "Rick, I'm losing our baby." He ran his hand through his hair like he was frustrated. "I'll be back. I swear. It's just a work thing. I have to." He kissed my forehead like I was some kid he was tucking in for a nap. And then he was gone. I lay there for 9 hours. Alone. Nurses came and went. They were kind, but they were busy. Every few hours someone would pop in and say, "Has your husband come back yet?" And I'd nod, lying through my teeth, saying, "He's on his way." The truth was, I stopped expecting him after the first hour. Around midnight, the door creaked open and in stumbled Rick. He reeked of whiskey. And worse, he reeked of cheap, sweet perfume. Not the kind I wear. The kind that clings to skin after someone's been pressed against you. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. I just watched him slump into the chair, yawning like he was the one who needed rest. Something inside me broke that night. And once it broke, it didn't come back. A week passed. I barely spoke to Rick. I slept in the guest room. I told him I needed space to grieve. He nodded, like it was a chore he was willing to give me. One night, while he was in the shower, I logged into our shared iCloud. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't. I just needed something. Anything. And that's when I saw it. A video he must have taken without realizing it was syncing to the cloud. A hotel room. Rick, shirtless, drink in hand, laughing. And there she was, a blonde woman, maybe early 20s, tiny, bouncing around the room. Wearing my pajamas. My pajamas. The ones I packed when I thought I'd be staying overnight at the hospital to recover. She giggled, spun around, and Rick threw crumpled bills at her like some frat boy at a strip club. I stared at the screen, stomach twisting, heart pounding so hard I thought it would break my ribs. I watched it twice. 3 times. Burned every second of it into my brain. Then I sent him one text. Hope you enjoyed her show. Now watch mine, in court. Rick didn't answer right away. I watched the little read notification pop up under my text, but no reply came. Instead, I heard the shower cut off upstairs. I sat there at the kitchen table, phone in my hand, heart hammering in my ears. A few minutes later, he came down the stairs, towel around his neck, looking confused and a little scared. Amanda, what's going on? I didn't say anything. I just slid my phone across the table. The video was still playing on loop. He picked it up, stared at the screen, and I swear I saw the color drain out of his face. He opened his mouth, probably to lie. To make up some excuse. Maybe she was just a friend, or it's not what it looks like. The same tired lines every cheater thinks will work. I didn't give him the chance. I stood up, grabbed the manila envelope off the counter, and tossed it at him. Inside, the separation papers. The ones I'd had drawn up 2 days ago after talking to the best divorce attorney in Franklin County. He fumbled with the envelope, pulling out the papers like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. You're really doing this, he stammered. Over one mistake? I laughed. It was a cold, hollow sound even to my own ears. No, Rick. I'm doing this because when our baby was dying, you chose her. His mouth flapped like a fish. No words came out. I turned and walked out the door. Over the next few weeks, things got ugly fast. Rick tried to spin the story. Told our friends that I was crazy from the miscarriage, that I was overreacting. But I was ready for him. See, I didn't just have the video. I had hospital records. I had text messages he'd sent that night to his so-called boss, who was actually just a buddy of his setting up a night out. I had credit card charges at a local bar, hotel receipts, GPS data from our shared car tracker, and I had screenshots of everything. When he realized I wasn't backing down, Rick tried another angle. He started showing up at my work. First just standing outside, leaning against his car, arms crossed, staring at me like he was trying to guilt me into talking to him. Then sending flowers to the office. Then calling my boss, pretending there was some emergency, just to try to get me on the phone. I blocked him everywhere. I changed my number. I had my attorney file for a restraining order when he showed up at my apartment banging on the door at 2 a.m., waking up the whole complex. He didn't like that. That's when the real revenge started. He thought he could scare me. He didn't realize how far I was willing to go. I wasn't just ending our marriage. I was ending his whole charade. Because it turned out Rick's job, his precious career he always bragged about, had a strict morals clause. They didn't like employees showing up drunk. They didn't like harassment charges. And they sure as hell didn't like public cheating scandals. So I made sure HR got a nice, neat, anonymous package. Inside, the video, the receipts, the police report from the night he tried to bust down my door. By the end of the month, Rick was unemployed. He called me once after he lost his job. From a new number. I answered without thinking. All I heard was his broken voice. Why are you doing this to me? I almost laughed again. But I didn't. I just said, you did this to yourself, and hung up. That was the last time I heard his voice. But it wasn't the end. Because karma wasn't done with Rick yet. And neither was I. After Rick lost his job, things got real quiet for a while. Too quiet. I thought maybe he'd finally crawled back under whatever rock he came from. Maybe he found some other woman dumb enough to believe his lies. But Rick wasn't the type to go quietly. One evening, about 2 months after the court date was set, I came home from work to find my front door slightly open. Just a crack. My heart dropped into my stomach. I backed away immediately and called the cops. I didn't even hesitate. I stood across the street at my neighbor Mrs. Ortega's porch, shaking while we waited for the squad car to show up. When the officers finally went inside, guns drawn, it didn't take them long to figure it out. Rick had broken in. The place was trashed. Drawers pulled out, pictures smashed, my mattress sliced open like he thought I was hiding something inside it. But the worst part wasn't the mess. It was the note he left behind. Scrawled on the living room wall in black spray paint, "You took everything from me. I'm taking it back." That night changed everything. I pressed full charges. I wasn't playing anymore. The police caught him 2 days later, passed out drunk in his car a few blocks away. I showed up to court that time, standing tall in a gray suit, my hands steady even though my knees wanted to buckle. Rick looked like hell, skinny, pale, bruised under his eyes like he hadn't slept in weeks. He barely glanced at me. The judge didn't go easy on him. Rick got hit with multiple charges: breaking and entering, property damage, violation of the restraining order. He was looking at real time. I thought maybe that would be the end of it, but Rick still wasn't done trying to ruin me. A week after that hearing, I got served. Rick was trying to countersue me. He claimed I was the reason he lost his job, his apartment, his car. That I had maliciously destroyed his life. I sat there, holding the legal papers in my hands, feeling like I was going to be sick. He wasn't just trying to hurt me anymore. He was trying to blame me. I called my lawyer right away. Good thing I had a bulldog for an attorney, because she went after him like a bloodhound. We filed a counterclaim. We brought every piece of evidence into court. Every screenshot. Every hospital record. Every police report. The judge didn't even let Rick finish testifying before he threw the case out, and slapped him with sanctions for wasting the court's time. That should have been the end. But it wasn't, because Rick still had one more move. And it was the lowest one yet. He contacted my parents. The same parents who never really liked Rick but had always tried to stay neutral. He showed up at their house in the middle of the night, crying, begging them to help him fix things with me, telling them I was unstable and needed mental help. My mom called me the next morning, furious, confused, asking if any of it was true. I sat on my living room floor, tears streaming down my face, shaking with rage. Rick wasn't just trying to ruin my reputation. He was trying to turn the people I loved against me. He was trying to erase what he did. Rewrite the whole story. Make himself the victim. But I wasn't the same woman who sat alone in that hospital bed. I wasn't broken anymore. I was furious. And fury makes you sharp. I had one last card to play. And this time, I wasn't just going to hurt Rick's life. I was going to bury it. After Rick tried to poison my parents against me, I knew there was no coming back from this. I spent a whole night sitting on my living room floor, staring at the piles of paperwork I had saved. All the videos, all the photos, all the emails and texts. I wasn't just mad anymore. I was tired. Tired of crying. Tired of hurting. Tired of letting this man control any piece of my life. So I made one final decision. If Rick wanted war, he'd get it. I started with his family. His sister, Mallory, and I had always gotten along. She'd stayed quiet during the divorce, not picking sides. I invited her out to coffee. When we sat down, I slid my phone across the table and hit play. The video. The photos of my trashed apartment. The police report. The restraining order. I didn't say a word while she watched. Just sipped my coffee and let the truth burn its way into her brain. When the video ended, Mallory looked up at me, eyes wide with horror. "I had no idea," she whispered. "I know," I said calmly, "but now you do." Within a week, Rick's family cut him off. Mallory told their parents everything. Rick's mother, who used to call me the best thing that ever happened to her son, sent me a handwritten letter apologizing for raising such a disappointment. It was a small thing, but it mattered. Because family was the only thing Rick had left. And now he didn't even have that. Next, I went after his reputation. It wasn't hard. Rick had spent years building up a fake image online, posing as some hardworking, small business entrepreneur. I anonymously sent every business connection he had a package. Inside was a little folder labeled, "The Real Rick." Screenshots of his DUI mugshot. Photos of the trashed apartment. Evidence of the harassment case. It didn't take long. Word spread fast. The freelance work he was clinging to dried up overnight. By the end of the month, he was blacklisted from almost every agency in Central Ohio. The final nail came during our divorce court date. Rick showed up looking wrecked, thinner, paler, hair shaggy, clothes rumpled. I showed up in a black dress and heels, makeup perfect, hair straight and shining. Calm. Collected. The judge reviewed everything. The cheating, the abandonment, the harassment, the vandalism. Then he ruled. Rick lost everything. I got the house. I got the car. He was ordered to pay restitution for the damages to my apartment. He tried to argue he couldn't afford it, whining about being unemployed. The judge didn't care. Actions have consequences, he said. And Rick had earned every single one. I walked out of that courtroom that day feeling like I could finally breathe. For the first time in months, maybe years, I wasn't scared. I wasn't sad. I was free. I heard from a mutual friend a few months later that Rick was living in a rundown studio on the bad side of town, couch surfing when he couldn't make rent. He had a record now. A reputation no employer would touch. And no one left to blame but himself. I never reached out to him again. I didn't need to. I had already said everything I needed to say with one simple message: hope you enjoyed her show. Now watch mine, in court. And oh, he did. He watched every single act of it. Until the final curtain fell. And he was left sitting in the dark. Alone. Exactly where he belonged.